I cannot believe how many layoffs there is. This is just unbelievable how many layoffs there is. I don't know where Xbox go. Why did they acquire all of these studios to then just get rid of everyone? It makes no sense. I don't understand. There's so much things going on with Perfect Dark. Supposedly that gameplay that we got, supposedly that was like pre-rendered and it was basically fake. It's around 9,000 jobs. Why isn't Phil Spencer sacked? What is the point in having Phil Spencer there and Sarah Bond or whatever? And what is the point? To just be spokesman? What do they actually do? Do you remember the launch of Redfall? And then Phil Spencer was like, yeah, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna think of how we can we can't let that happen again. It's like, what do you actually do? But then you sack like 9,000 jobs. What is the point in having these big CEOs? And how much are they getting paid? And then this happens. The amount of talented, probably developers there are that have lost their jobs. Mass Xbox layoffs begin. Everwild and Perfect Dark also cancelled. This is what Matt Booty said. So we've made the decision to stop development of Perfect Dark and Everwild, as well as wind down several unannounced projects across our portfolio. As part of this, we are closing one of our studios, The Initiative. These decisions, along with other changes across our teams, reflect a broader effort to adjust priorities and focus resources to set up teams for greater success within a changing industry landscape. We did not make these choices lightly, as each project and team represents years of effort, imaginations, and commitment. So this was on Wednesday 2nd. Then in another update from Jason Schreier, it's reported Forza Motorsport developer Turn 10 Studios has been hit hard by Microsoft waves of layoffs. Almost 50% of all staff losing their job. Additionally, Call of Duty teams, Ray, you legend. Additionally, Call of Duty teams Raven Software and Sledgehammer Games are reported to have suffered cuts. Many of Xbox subsidiaries are getting hit by the layoffs this morning, including Call of Duty studios such as Raven. Big cuts at Forza Motorsport. Developer turned 10%. Nearly 50% of staff. Flipping it. Then it went on to say, this again was yesterday, the new MMORPG project from ZeniMax Online Studios, makers of Elder Scrolls Online, has been cancelled as part of the layoffs. The project, codenamed Blackbird, has been in development since 2018. Oh my gosh, imagine the money that's wasted. Imagine that, since 2018. What have they been doing? As I'm reading this, I'm going to give my thoughts. Part of it is, do you think Microsoft went into these studios and a project's been going since 2018 and they're thinking, what have you been doing all of this time? I'm just saying what it could have been. I assume there will be certain developers and maybe studios that are like taking the piss as well. But all in all, like, it just shows you the higher ups are supposed to run these companies. So you think if these companies are not being run properly, then you think, okay, who is actually responsible for steering the ship? So according to VGC sources tell outlet that UK studio Rare has been affected by the layoffs. As a result, the long in development Everwild has been cancelled. This title wasn't announced for PS5. There would have been a good chance of a port had the game made it to the market. So this is what Spencer said. Oh my gosh, with as many as 9,100 people across the whole company. Flipping, oh my gosh, these people. 9,000. How many jobs have been lost in the last 10 years? 5 years. Last 5 years of gaming. Via Windows Central, an internal email sent to employees has been made public. So penned by Xbox lead Phil Spencer. He told staff, today we are sharing decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization to position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas. It will allow us to focus on strategic growth areas. We will end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Wow. Spatus states he recognizes these layoffs come at a time when Xbox has more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Wow. Now, I saw in a video today, we're going to read that as well. We're going to, didn't when they were going through that court thing with PlayStation with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, didn't they say if they acquired them, I need to find the article, didn't they say they would not do mass firings? And some along with some other things, and they've basically done the opposite. So this is what he said. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. My gosh, imagine working and being like, yep, gaming's booming ever before. We've got more players than ever before. you're sacked. You think over good merit you would keep your job, but no. Our platform hardware and roadmap has never looked stronger. My gosh. It sounds like Microsoft and Xbox is one of the worst companies if this is how they base it off. Imagine being sacked just because everything's been doing well. And the one thing, we can say what we want, is true, Stan. The one thing we can say about Nintendo, and I know a lot of us say how that they're a very weird company, but they never do mass layoffs. And wasn't it a few years ago, the CEO, I can't remember at the time, when they went through a difficult time and he just cut his own paycheck to allow, to basically spare other people's jobs. And he says it will change work morale. How would you expect people to be creative and do well if we did mass layoffs? I really thought, and I said it about a year ago, or even 6-7 months ago, I was like, I'm optimistic about the state of gaming. I am just eating my words when I say that, because I'm like, wow, it feels like just as we've gone to the lowest of low, then I think, wow, it's getting worse. And I'm just, and I was wrong. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate efforts on areas with the greatest potential while delivering on the expectations the company has. So it sounds like Microsoft is not happy. Well, they acquire Activision Blizzard, and then they've gone in and been like, we're not happy with this, this, and this. This is what we're going to do. And there's nothing Xbox can actually do about this, because Microsoft obviously are pulling the shots. This focused approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experience for players for generations to come. It's so generic, they're so corporate. He then thanks those who are losing their job. Prioritizing our opportunities is essential, but that doesn't lessen the significance of this moment. Simply put, we would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those whose roles are impacted. Imagine the amount of people that were working in gaming and their lives have been shattered, and they could genuinely be the most talented people. Gaming is probably one of the worst industries to be in right now. Where we're going with AI and all of these things that corporate companies are going to take advantage of, it's nuts how much they're scaling down. And one of you mentioned briefly, I don't know, I need to look into it, did they invest into AI a few months ago or spend millions? So it thinks, we don't need all these people. These decisions are not a reflection of the talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental, it is the result of years of dedicated efforts from our teams. This is nuts. Nuts. And I'm looking at your comments now. Yeah, graphics designer, my friend, one of my good friends who does the clothing for the, and we're going to look to really push the clothing soon. He does all the, he's a graphics designer. He's been impacted in his area. Generation has been crapping so hard for all the thousands, absolutely thousands of talented people. And you know what? I see all these AI videos online. I see all these AI content, and it's absolutely booming on Shorts, Instagram. And I'm not saying the people, well, the people that are making them. You think of the people that actually used to, like the talented people, are being overrun. It's sad where we're going. I saw this today. Well, it was basically the gameplay that was shown. Perfect Dark may have looked rougher than we thought, as its last trailer was basically fake. But I can imagine some studios and people that have taken the piss. That is why Microsoft has gone on a killing spree. So Xbox gave us arguably one of the worst days the game industry has ever seen in terms of closures and layoffs. The initiative all horribly impacted. In the case of the latter, the studio was closed down completely, and all the work on the Perfect Dark reboot that has been in development was immediately cancelled. Now listen to this. Naturally, news of Perfect Dark's cancellation has been flocking back the last time we actually saw it in action. That being a gameplay reveal during the Xbox showcase back in 2024. It was a slick trailer showcasing an interesting blend of traversal mechanics and combat, and it's easy to feel bad about the game that could have been. However, it seems as though that the trailer was a little too good to be true. This is nuts. So the Perfect Dark sizzle reel at last year's Xbox showcase looked awesome. Someone at the time also told me it was basically fake. This was a joint project with Crystal Dynamics, a studio that's also been struggling with Tomb Raider. Shortly after the news, the Perfect Dark has been cancelled. The initiative has been shut down. Kotaku reporter Ethan Gash claimed on Blue Sky that the gameplay was shown off last year was basically fake. Claims that the trailer was not an indicative of the level of progress perceived to have been made on the game. Flipping now is flipping Kotaku. That doesn't necessarily mean that the entire trailer was complete lie. The Perfect Dark looked like it was launched, but also means the true state of the game was completely unknown. As soon as lockdown happened and COVID, gaming was booming. And I feel like companies went absolutely nuts with investment budgets, because they thought, oh my gosh, look at what's happened to gaming. And it wasn't a true reflection of the market. And then you had Sony buying studios. You obviously had Xbox buy Activision Blizzard. Spoiler alert, turns out when we were told to stay indoors, People wanted to go outside. As much as I love gaming, I wanted to go outside. It wasn't a true reflection. And now, mixed with hiring DEI hires, and some of you will be like, really? Yes, of course, because if you were putting out banger after banger with all of these budgets, then people would have bought these projects. The problem is you hired stupid ass people that can't make good games, good stories, along with stupid ass budgets, and then what you get? A collapse. Everything just collapsed. I know I'm going on about it, but during lockdown that was the first game I bought for such a long time. The Last of Us Part 2 during lockdown. I was like, I haven't bought a game in years. It's lockdown. I'm going to buy it. But my point is, it's a combination. And now, years later, they can't keep afloat. It shows you that Microsoft do not care about having Xbox on their own or competing with PlayStation. And it's a real shame. It's a real freaking shame because this is not what gaming is about. It's become so corporate with investors. And look what's happened. Xbox are raising their prices to their consoles that no one's going to buy. There's some positive news today. Actually, yeah, there is. Kind of. Neil Druckmann. The only problem that causes, guys, is competition. Sony weighs in on Xbox potential exit from the console business. And I do believe after the next console release, I do believe Spencer will leave. PlayStation will be in a league of their own. I feel like Nintendo are in a league of their own as well. Even though the shit going over there with their flipping no physical digital bollocks. Sorry, excuse the language. There are multiple participants who drive the game industry. So this is what Sony said. The competition from rival console manufacturers drives it to innovate. Although it's not overly worried about Xbox potential exit from the business. Of course not. So the PlayStation boss Hideaki Nishino was asked rather bluntly during an investors meeting whether he believes it'll be a good or bad for Sony if Microsoft decides to quit making hardware. We think that competition in the business is healthy and that pushes us to innovate. There are multiple participants who together drive the overall games industry, and while there are new engagement models being explored, we ultimately think this is a good thing. Nishino, as you expect, implied his company is more focused on its own decisions rather than the trajectory of others. As I mentioned earlier, we're confident and committed on our current strategy and there isn't an urgent need for us to pivot, but we will continue to monitor play patterns. Microsoft, of course, has repeated on multiple occasions they will release more hardware, although it's expected its next console will be more like a PC. Strong speculation from a multitude of sources suggests it currently scrapped plans to make its own internal handheld and is instead focusing on partnerships with other manufacturers. But the reality is, with or without Xbox, PlayStation faces intense competition from a variety of different directions. Switch 2 is already shaping up to be a smash hit, while PC continues to grow in other entertainment. I do think PlayStation are in a really good position. The one thing I say, and going into the next generation, whenever that is, and I hope it's not soon, if digital is the main focus and physical is going to be gone, I'm out. I'm out. It's been how many months since the Switch 2 came out? And I thought for me, I would, and even Els thought, she goes, you want to buy the Switch 2? I said to her the other day, I really don't. I said, I really don't want to buy the Switch 2 because I want to own my games, or I want to buy the physical box to these games. I would not invest the money I do into gaming. The amount of games I buy, no way would I buy the amount of games that I buy at 60, 70 pounds. Would I ever spend that much money on something I can't own? Or it's a joke to me. It's different from movies and music. It's way different. They're in a good position because if in the PS6 they say we are committed to physical media, we are going to be doing physical boxes, and we will continue to give players the chance of owning their games. If they did that, I'm Sony, you would make so much money. I'm serious, you would make so much money because you want physical media to survive. Yes, I've got digital games for sure, and I buy some on deals, but I wouldn't want to spend so much money on a game. Digital, that's just the way I am, because it gives them the excuse to then delete your games whenever you want. Things could go wrong, and I get it, 80% of sales are digital, but I feel like they're promoting it more than they're letting on.